Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that thing. They're going to want to see that thing, Alan. That face. You good?
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. This is episode number 87, another 20-minute Scratching the Surface episode, and I am all hopped up on caffeine right now.
I also am that.
I have been working on behind-the-scenes stuff and getting our website to the next level for 13 hours. It is 8:20 p.m., and we are getting after it.
In Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes.
The launch house.
So, as always, the Scratching the Surface episodes kind of have to do with what we have going on in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, Eddie Pinero of Your World Within came down, and I was lucky enough to record not one, but 2 songs with him. And I was super grateful because 7 months ago, I set the intention to do that. When we podcasted with him the first time, I set the intention to podcast with him, to write a song with him, and that happened.
It did.
So we are going to talk about the difference between setting intentions and... Oh my God, I can't talk.
Kevin is cooked, folks.
I'm cooked. Setting intentions and making wishes. And Alan is playing with his phone.
I'm trying to figure out which episode.
The second episode was number 66 with Eddie.
And then the first one was... I'm looking for it.
I'll sip this coffee.
Expanding Comfort Zones and the Power of Belief with Eddie Pinero, number 37. So that was a remote podcast that we had done when he was in Florida. Then we went to visit him in Florida for 56.
Which was also an intention we set right after the first rep.
Yeah.
After the remote podcast, we said, how cool would it be to go to Florida and podcast with Eddie Pinero?
We even said it to him on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wrote a post today kind of teasing this episode about setting intentions. We've got 2019 coming up quick. The end of 2018 is here, and I think a lot of people get overwhelmed this year with the holidays and all the shopping and all that kind of thing. And I think it's a time to be grateful and thankful for sure. We did an episode on that, but I think it's also a time to look back and say, like, did I meet my intentions for 2018? And if not, that's okay, but I am definitely a lot farther along than if I didn't set big intentions in 2018.
So as we were doing a little prep for this, Alan was writing and he was going over the excerpt from the Compound Effect that he's going to read. I actually wrote something down that came to me, and per the usual, it's not intelligent, but it's kind of like an analogy. So when you ever been to a wishing well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you take your quarter, whoop, you whip it into the water and you make a wish.
You're a high roller.
Oh, I'm balling.
Pennies.
Whatever it is, right? And you make a wish. When do you think of that again? You kind of don't ever.
Yeah.
I could never. I've done that before. I don't know what I wish for.
I don't
know what I wish for.
Nor do I. Yeah.
So the biggest difference between making a wish and setting an intention is when you set an intention, you have to feel it. Like I felt that. I felt that I wanted to do a rap with
It's
Eddie.
almost like you knew it would happen.
It's almost like
weird,
I did. Yeah.
Because you don't really know for sure, but you have a very strong...
It's kind of
feeling
something
like-
you can control.
Yeah.
You can wish to win the lottery, but you can set the intention to become a better version of yourself. You can set the intention to get in better shape. You can set the intention to be a better father, a better mother, whatever it is.
100%.
You can wish all you want. But that's out of your control. And one of the things we always preach is control, or don't stress over what you can't control.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you can't control.
So I want to go into the intentions we've set for 2019. So we just recently set new goals. We want to have a membership site up by the time. So that here's an example. We're at the launch house, right?
Yes.
So we set so many intentions since being here and before coming here of things that we want to make sure we get done before we leave. So that's a good example. I think an intention and a wish, the difference is that one of them you genuinely, when you set it, you intend to do it no matter what. Wayne Dyer has a quote that always stuck with me. He said, if you want to accomplish something, you must first expect it of yourself. And so the question is, what are you expecting of yourself? Are you expecting of yourself? I always say demand more from yourself than anyone could possibly expect of you. That's a Tony Robbins quote. Like, if you want to be in shape, you must first expect of yourself to go to the gym. You must expect of yourself to get around in shape people. You must expect of yourself to diet and to learn how to actually get in shape. I turned 30 in November on the 17th, and you mentioned to me that I was setting a really strong intention.
Yes.
You could tell.
Yes.
There's actually a picture that I'm thinking of right now that my sister took while I was setting an intention, and I was thinking really hard about it because it wasn't just a wish to me. It was something that I genuinely intend to make fucking happen. And if you hear the fire in my voice, that's how much I intend to make this happen. And I think that's the difference. A wish is kind of like a hope, like that would be nice. An intention is like, this is going to happen, hell or high water, I'm going to make it happen. And if it doesn't, that's okay because I'm going to be farther along than I would have had I never said it in the first place.
I had a listener reach out the other day, and a lot of times when listeners reach out, they're in an unresourceful state and they're trying. They need support. They need help. They need ideas. They need just a little bit of clearance. They need something.
Yeah.
They just need a little something. It's not usually a lot, but she said she was telling me about her past, and I said, "Well, what are you doing now to make sure your future isn't like your past?" And it blew her mind. She said, "Well, I never really thought of it like that." It's like, if you want happiness, and I'm putting that in quotes, whatever happiness means to you, right? I know we've done an episode on it, but we'll simplify it for this. If you want happiness, if that's what you want in your future, you just want to have a happy life. Are you wishing for it or are you working for it? Like, are you setting the intention of
That's legit.
that's it, man.
That's legit right
That's
there.
it.
Are you wishing for it or are you working
You
for
can
it?
wish, Alan, you and I are both fitness competitors.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wish that you win on stage, or do you set the intention and then follow through with effort?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
That's the way to achieve anything.
Yeah. Are you wishing for it or are you working
I'm
for
wishing
it?
this website gets done. It's not getting done. I'm wishing this podcast gets done. It's not getting done.
Unless
you have to
you
set
work
the
for it.
intention.
Yeah.
The first part of intention is intent, which means
You
plan on
intend to
doing
do it. Yeah. You literally plan on doing it.
You know, so
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of people want to accomplish great things. And I hope to God, the universe, whatever it is you believe in, that you accomplish it. But you're not going to accomplish it by saying, I wish that happens. Sit down and write out what it is. Sit down and write out what the result looks like.
Let's talk about that. So right now,
Forgot to set the timer.
Oh no!
Jeez, man.
Give us a little bing. Bing. We have like a new little bell here
Right.
at the launch house. That
All
was
right.
pretty anticlimactic. Bing.
Hold on.
Ding, not Bing. I don't know what Bing is. But I'm also cooked. I am Jeff.
I am
No.
Jeff.
Little inside jokes there.
13 minutes and countdown.
Okay, so just to reference what Kevin mentioned, we did do an episode on happiness versus fulfillment. That was episode number 77, where we create the framework. And so the difference between happiness and fulfillment, really quick, is setting an intention, a goal that forces you to grow and contribute beyond yourself. Okay, so let's say 2019 is coming, and it is. Let's set some intentions for 2019. Now, what Kevin said is you cannot just set a goal and then that's it and just hope and wish it happens. What you have to do is, and this is something that I've come to realize, if you want to achieve a goal, you have to also want the process that it will require of you to achieve it. Now, I wrote on my Instagram earlier about this. I think that we don't set big intentions because of several reasons. One is we're afraid of being judged if we tell other people that we intend to do this
for sure.
and then we fail. We're afraid of letting ourselves down again because we have so many freaking times, right? And that's why we're so big on failing forward because, folks, like I set a lot of intentions in 2018 and in the last few years, and have all of them come true? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you what I know for sure, as Oprah would say, is that I am way farther along than had I not set them. So you have to set intentions knowing that maybe it will take longer than you thought. Or maybe it'll happen shorter than you thought. Like we talked to Eddie, and one of his videos early on in his journey popped off really quickly. 3 or 4 months in, we were crunching some numbers. So who knows? But I'll tell you what, the first key to achieving a goal is fucking setting one. You know?
Preach.
Right.
So I'll give a little behind the scenes. About an hour and a half ago, Alan and I were going over the divide and conquer list that we created when we came down here.
Yeah, I wish we had it in here.
I know.
My bad.
And
I
we
have a
did
picture of it on my phone.
we did some behind the scenes that the members of the website will get to see. We did a whole video on it. It's a whole thing. But
Yes, we did.
But one of the things that you need to realize is when you set an intention. So I wrote this down. If you want a raise, you have to consciously realize what it will take to get the raise.
Yeah.
You can sit in your office and say, I really deserve it. I'd really help the bills out. I'd really be able to get the kids something nice for Christmas this year. Or you can realize that you have to go above and beyond what you've been doing. You have to be better than everybody else. You have to show up early and stay late. You have to do the best job you can do. You're reverse engineering
The
your
finish
success.
line. Yeah.
And that's the way to do it.
Yep.
The intention for us to have the most successful podcast of all time, not just for a life of freedom for ourselves, but to prove to countless others that they can have any life that they're willing to work for, is the intention that I set when I started this podcast. Why? Because that's what I want. I'm not wishing to change lives. I'm intending on it.
Intending.
And every single
working
day,
every day for
we
it.
work towards it. Every single day, we drive across the country, or we fly across the country, or
drive across the country has not yet
no,
happened.
not across the country. So we drive up and down the East Coast. We've done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It doesn't matter. The circumstances almost don't matter because once the intention is set, you're far more light. You feel like you're in control.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between that and hoping and wishing.
Here's a good analogy. So Kevin and I have both done a fitness show.
Analogies.
And I have a client that is actually starting in January, which I'm super excited for. And she reached out and said that she wanted to do a fitness show. And if you want to do a fitness show, let's say you want to set an intention to win a fitness show, you have to also intend to prep your ass off in order to do that. You're not just going to step on stage and win. Trust me, I've failed several times at that. So again, it's once you set the big goal. So here's for the listeners. We set a goal for in 2019 to achieve 800,000 listens. And at our current growth rate, we are going to have to level up and learn how to market better, learn how to get this podcast in front of more people to change more lives. Now, our intention for setting that goal, it's not about 800,000 listens. It's about what it means, which is how many lives we can impact, how many lives we can change. But now we also have to want the process. And by the way, we don't have it all figured out yet, but setting the intention is going to force us to figure it out because we're going to measure it. That's another thing I think we should talk about, measuring your intentions. Because otherwise, like, what if you set an intention for, on New Year's Eve, you were like, oh, I intend to get 800,000 listens. And then what if we just never measured it? We just checked in 2020
then
and
we'd
went,
be hoping.
Oh. Yeah, we'd be hoping.
We'd be hoping.
So I think another sign of an intention versus a wish is that it's actually something you can measure. How do you know when you win?
When a rocket takes off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, headed towards wherever the hell it's going,
Yeah.
are they hoping the rocket makes it there, or are they intending on it making there? Did they do all the correct math?
Yeah.
Did they weigh out the fuel?
Yep.
Did they weigh out the load? Did they weigh out, or did they figure out the path?
Yep.
They're not just hoping.
And they measure along the way to
Yes,
make sure they're on
yes.
track. Yeah.
It is a science.
Yep.
Success is what you do daily. It's habits, it's mindset, it's actions. If you intend on being successful, you're going to realize that you can't just slide by. It's not going to happen by accident.
Ready for the listeners right now. Kevin, what is your current weight?
Today I woke up at 171.8. I'm
Okay.
down almost 7 pounds since we got here.
So the fact that he's aware of that means he's measuring it. He's not just hoping
And
to
I
be in shape.
also predicted that. I said
Yeah.
I was going to wake up at 172.
So you went above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But so like for someone who's not into fitness, if we were to ask them what their current weight is, they wouldn't be able to tell us probably. For me, I'm 187.5 right now. I think it's 0.6 actually. But that's the thing, like we are both cutting. We both have a photo shoot the first week in January and it's a gym shoot and we're both dieting for it. We're not just winging it. We're not like, "Oh, we hope we show up in shape." We're making sure.
Yeah.
So what's your daily caloric intake right now?
2,300.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the listeners,
Which
like
sucks.
these are measurable things, right? We are measuring how much we're eating, how much we're working out, and then the scale to make sure we're losing weight. We're not wishing to lose weight. We are certain we're losing weight. It's a system. So you can't want the goal and not the process, and you got to master the process, and the process has to be something measurable. So there's something that I wrote down here from the compound effect. It says choice/intention, which is making a decision, setting an intention. It's literally a decision, meaning you're going to do this no matter what. New behavior. So it needs to leak into your actions. Something needs to be different. You know, you can't make a wish at your birthday and then just keep living life the same way, hoping that you win the lottery or something, right? And then it has to become a habit. So decision, action, repeated action daily, which is habit. So something you do every day, right? For us, it's tracking our calories. For us, it's weighing ourselves. For us, it's tracking the podcast listens, right? It's posting on Instagram. It's all of these different things. Put it this way. If you've set a wish, you probably don't do anything different. If you set an intention, it's something that you act on basically every day.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, so you're looking at the time of year now where people start to formulate their New Year's resolutions. They're starting to figure out, wow, this year wasn't that great for me. I had a bad breakup. I had I gained a lot of weight. I wasn't happy. And you're starting to formulate your New Year's resolutions. And I can tell you right now, you can make the best New Year's resolution in the world, but if you don't change a habit towards that goal, you will not get it.
Yeah, it's not
unless by luck.
It's not what you do once in a while, folks.
No.
It's really not. It's what you're doing every day.
No, and I wrote that down the other day. This is actually part of my training program. It's one of the parts, but like, you get good at what you do.
Yeah.
If you've been talking badly about yourself for years, you've gotten good at it.
Really good.
Guess what? You can get good at talking good about yourself.
You talked to your client recently about that. You said, what question did you ask her?
One of my clients at one point was on the verge of suicide. And I said, you literally talked yourself into the fact that that was your only way out. That was the only thing left for you to do. And I said,
there.
I've been there for sure, for several times. So I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to convince yourself that that's it. Like that's the only way out. And I told her, I said, if you can convince yourself of that, you can convince yourself of anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
You just got to start. You got to start with some small wins.
Yep.
Some small wins. She actually texted me today. She got herself a new client. She's killing it.
That's awesome.
She's killing it.
One of my clients just got themselves a client, too. It's very cool.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy, man.
So proud. So
it's
proud of you.
All about influences. So proud of you as well, Alex. So one of the things that I wanted to say, too, was I think New Year's Eve and the whole resolution thing is overwhelming, and I think setting intentions and goals can be overwhelming, too. I think we should make this simpler, lower the intimidation factor. I think you should because if you set like 10 goals all at once, it'll kind of freak you out. I wrote a post on my Twitter recently that said, don't wake up every day and look up 10,000 stairs. Set the intention of the 10,000 stairs. That's the vision. Excuse me. And then focus on that next step. Because if you wake up every morning and look up 10,000 stairs, trust me, it's overwhelming as shit, and then you'll end up watching Netflix eating Halo Top.
Nothing. Don't be hating on Halo Top. So if you're sitting in your chair, in your car, on your elephant, wherever you listen to the podcast,
Right.
Right. Think to yourself right now, how many times have I just said, I hope things change? How many times have I said, I wish things were different? And then compare that to how many times did I actually make a concrete effort towards that? How many times did I let that burn inside of me? Did I write that on the fridge? Did I put that on the mirror? Whatever it is. Whatever it is. I have wanted things so badly I would die for them. Quite literally. I would literally die for this. 0 questions asked. Why?
Last time we were in Florida, you
Yes,
proved that.
I thought I was going to die.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. I've set the intention to do this, and I will die doing it if I have to. The difference is I don't plan on getting lucky.
Nope.
I don't plan on hoping. I plan on working my ass off. You work your ass off. We're going to keep working our ass off.
Yep.
We're going to keep helping you guys, and
Whatever it takes.
we're going to love doing it. 2 minutes left. Read your thing.
Okay.
Alan told me this excerpt would take no longer than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes and go.
Hold on. So last episode on Scratching the Surface, you said to all the listeners to stop whatever they're doing, unless they're in a car,
Unless you're in
and
a car.
write down 5 things they're grateful
If
for.
you're on your elephant, you're
Right
fine.
now, I really want everyone out there to stop, and there's 3 categories: health, wealth, and love. Set 3 intentions and make them something that you intend to do, because I think that it'll be less overwhelming if you pick one in each category and just really do it. And once you do that, you're going to build so much self-esteem because you actually achieved something. And you were able to know that you won the game because it's measurable. Okay, here we go. So this is the absolute perfect excerpt to wrap this episode up. The Compound Effect, as you know, is my favorite book of all time. Here we go. Okay, how goal setting actually works. The mystery, quote unquote, secret revealed. You only see, experience, and get what you look for. If you don't know what to look for, you certainly won't get it. By our very nature, we are goal-seeking creatures. Our brain is always trying to align our outer world with what we are seeing and experiencing and expecting in our inner world. So, when you instruct your brain to look for the things you want, you will begin to see them. In fact, the object of your desire has probably always existed around you, but your mind and eyes weren't open to seeing it. In reality, this is how the law of attraction really works. It is not the mysterious, esoteric voodoo it sometimes sounds like. It's far simpler and more practical than that. We are bombarded with billions of sensory, visual, audio, physical bytes of information each day. To keep ourselves from going insane, we ignore 99.9% of them, only really seeing, hearing, or experiencing those upon which our mind focuses. This is why when you think something, it appears that you are miraculously drawing it into your life. In reality, you're now just seeing what was already there. You are truly attracting it into your life. It wasn't there before or accessible to you until your thoughts focused and directed your mind to see it. He said that earlier.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful sound.
Does that make sense? This isn't mysterious at all. It's, in fact, quite logical. Now, with this new perception, whatever your mind is thinking internally is what it will focus on and all of a sudden see within that 99.9% of remaining space. And again, this is your subconscious mind bringing things to the hyperconscious based on the intentions you set. That's me talking. Okay, here's a well-worn example because it's so true. In shopping for or buying a new car, you suddenly start to see that model or make everywhere, right? It seems like there are tons of them on the streets all of a sudden when they weren't there yesterday. But is that realistic? Of course not. They were there all along, but you weren't paying attention to them. Thus, they didn't really, quote-unquote, exist to you until you gave them your attention. Last paragraph. When you define your goals, you give your brain something new to look for and focus on. It's as if you're giving your mind a new set of eyes from which to see all the people, circumstances, conversations, resources, ideas, and creativity surrounding you. With this new perspective and inner itinerary, your mind proceeds to match up on the outside what you want most on the inside, your goal. It's that simple. The difference in how you experience the world and draw ideas, people, and opportunities into your life after you have clearly defined your goals is profound.
One of the best books ever of all time, some would say.
Yes.
Some would say.
Yes. My favorite book of all time.
So Alan said, write down, what'd you say, 5?
3.
3.
So one under health,
wealth.
one under wealth, and one under love.
All right.
If you want to stretch it and do 5 under each category and then pick one to focus on first.
So as we were saying before, we are actually going to do that after.
Let's do it.
After the show, we'll do it, we'll record it, and then we'll put it up on the website.
Perfect.
What else? Is that it? Anything
That's
else?
it. That's
I
it.
wrote a little poem
Let's go.
because if Alan's going to have a dramatic reading, I feel like I should have something too.
Perfect.
It's just 2 lines. I think from now on, what I'll do is I'll try to write a little poem that goes along with the theme of the podcast.
I like that.
And maybe I won't do it in the last 1 minute while you're reading yours, and it'll be better. But let's see. Just 2 lines here. The honest truth is, success may never schedule you. If you're sick of wishing and hoping, focus on what you intend to do. Real
look at
quick.
that, like a haiku.
Ooh, haiku. Ladies and gents, per the usual, we were all over the place today. We were both fired up, but this is something that is near and dear to both of our hearts because I hope for a better life. I wish for a better life for a long time, and then eventually got to the point where I had no choice but to set the intention, to put forth the effort, and get out of my comfort zone and start doing the thing.
Folks, if you're not taking consistent action towards something, it is a wish and not an intention. Set more intentions, make less wishes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast.
Going hyperconscious will absolutely change your life, because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyperconscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends, because the more people that go hyperconscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyperconscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.